back to my channel, the best place to be wherever you are on your wealth journey right now. Today I want to talk about investing in gold and silver coins. But before I go on, I will say, guys, if you're interested in more videos on personal finance, mindset and wealth creation, do subscribe to this channel just underneath this video for plenty more just like this one. Once you've started down your wealth journey, and we're looking at our basic wealth system, so we've got our budgeting sorted, we have annihilated our debt and we have saved some money, the investing part is the really fun bit, because this is where you can decide exactly what it is that you want to invest in. Now there are many different ways to invest, some of which require much more capital outlay, time and effort than others. And as you know, I primarily invest in property, which takes a lot of capital outlay and a lot of time and effort, at least initially, to get the property up and running. And I would say that I am a property professional. I don't do my properties as a hobby, it's a professional business that I'm running here. And likewise, my businesses aren't hobbies either. They take a lot of my time and effort and energy to keep them running. And that's okay, but what happens if you don't have very much money to actually get started? Well, one way of investing that I did take up a few years ago, more as a hobby than anything else, was to invest in gold and silver coins. Now I will put my hands up here, guys, and say I'm not an expert at this. I do buy coins, but I don't buy very many per year, but I do buy them at least once a year when I can. And I got started because I realised that I didn't need very much in the way of capital outlay to actually start buying coins. Now a coin collector is generally known as a numismatist, and I can say that I'm not an expert numismatist by any stretch, but what I do find is that it feels really good to put money into something that is not just the bank where it's dwindling away, and something that I can still feel and see and touch but that isn't as big as a property. Plus, who doesn't love the feel and look of gold and silver? Now people have been investing in gold and silver for literally centuries, and investors like it because it holds its price relative to inflation. So as inflation is going up and down and wobbling around all over the place, gold is steadily, keeping its same value. So you can actually use it to offset things. If you've got stocks and shares, for example, you might want to offset them with some gold. People do it all kinds of different ways. In fact, thinking about inflation, if we just look at the coronavirus situation that we've had this year, inflation has fallen through the floor, whereas the price of gold has climbed. People also see gold as a very safe way to guard against volatile investments. The way that I see it is it's about diversifying your investment portfolio. For example, if I invested in properties, I wouldn't just want to invest all my properties in one city, because if the economy or something changed in that city, then I might not be able to get any tenants for my houses. Likewise, if I buy stocks, I don't want to be investing all of my money into just one stock, because again, if something happens with that, if it collapses like Carillion, for example, then you're going to end up with nothing, and that's not what you want. You want to be as diverse as you possibly can be. And it's the same with all of your investments. So rather than just buying houses or just doing stocks and shares, you want a nice spread of different types of investment. The more diverse your portfolio of investments, the more secure you become and the more secure you feel as well. And I liked buying coins because they are relatively low price compared with everything else. So let's have a look at some coins that you might want to start with when you're beginning your collection. And I'm going to start off by talking about silver. And I'm going to put my gloves on for this as well, because I've got some here that I want to show you, and I don't want to tarnish them when I take them out of their little cases. So, now what I will say is that silver is much cheaper than gold because it's the more common metal. Now I have here a 1 ounce Silver Britannia, and I've got my other coins along the top here, so you can actually see, compared with actual currency, how big these are. So these are 2 Silver Britannias. I've got 2 so I can show you the front and the reverse at the same time. Now these come directly from the Royal Mint, and each year a new one is struck with the new year inscribed. So we can see that this one here is from 2014. And you can see that these are quite chunky. Now these weigh an ounce, so your Britannia is always an ounce. And if we compare it to our coins at the top here, we can see it's much bigger than the 2p piece, and it's also a heck of a lot bigger than the £2 coin as well. So really chunky coins, these ones. Now the prices of gold and silver will fluctuate all the time, but at the moment of making this video, the silver price is around £21 per ounce, and because a Silver Britannia is an ounce, then it will be worth roughly £21. So if you wanted to start small, you could go and buy a coin just like this one for under £30. So let's say we go and buy one of these, and let's say it costs us £21, for example. What are we actually getting? Well, if you buy a silver coin in the UK, you do have to pay VAT on the purchase if you get it physically delivered to your door. But if you want wanted to keep it in a vault somewhere, you wouldn't need to pay the VAT necessarily on that. And also, and the reason that investors like it is because you don't have to pay capital gains tax when you sell it. In the normal world, I would have to pay capital gains tax on any gain I'd made on any asset, but not with these coins. And the reason you pay no capital gains tax is because technically these are legal tender. I could technically go into a shop and exchange this for goods or services. I could go and buy a loaf of bread with it if I wanted to. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can own this, and it's exactly the same for gold as well. Obviously, you could buy it, as I have done, and store it either at home in a safe or in a bank safety deposit box if you don't want it to be at home. The other option that you have is that you could buy it directly from the Royal Mint or another specialist company and get them to store it for you in their specialist vault. So obviously then I would not have to pay VAT on the purchase because it's not physically coming to me. I don't then need to pay capital gains tax when I sell it. But the downside, obviously, is that I don't get to have it and look at it and see it all the time. Now, both of these have pluses and minuses. For example, if you get the Royal Mint or the company to vault it for you, then you don't actually see what you're buying, which is kind of good because that means that you don't have an affinity with it because you've not seen it, and it also might make it easier for you to part with it when you actually come to sell it. If you physically own the coins, as I do, you have some choices here. You could hold on to them for years and years and years. You could even pass them to your children and your grandchildren as an heirloom, something to pass on. You could sell them at a much later date for a much higher price than you bought them for, or very worst case scenario, you could actually use them as currency and trade them for goods and services, which is what we talked about just now. I would say there's no right or wrong way when it comes to owning bullion. In fact, you might even want to do a little bit of both. You might want to have some vaulted away so that you can sell it quickly without worrying about it, and you might also want to own some so that you have got it to hold on to keep as an heirloom or to sell at a later date if you need to. Okay, well, what about gold then? Well, gold works in a very similar way to silver, but gold is normally bought in smaller quantities because it's the rarer metal, which makes it more expensive. Now, one coin that you're almost certain to come across when you start your collection is a gold sovereign. Sovereigns have been around literally for centuries. They are currency as well, so people do trade with them. The thing that struck me about the gold sovereign when I very first saw one was how tiny it is. Because I've got one here, if I pop it there, we can compare it to the other coins that we have. We can see that it's only a tiny bit bigger than our penny, and it's certainly nowhere as big as our Britannias over here. Now, gold is currently worth over £1,500 per ounce. So if this gold sovereign was an ounce, the same size as the Britannia, it will be worth £1,500. So you can see the big difference in the prices of gold and silver. But even if we just look at the sovereign, I've got 3 sovereigns here, for example, and these 3 together are worth over £1,000, compared with 3 silver Britannias, which would be worth around £65. So this is really interesting stuff, guys, and I don't know if you guys have invested in coins before. If you have, drop me a comment just underneath here. I'd love to know what you're investing in, what kinds of coins you guys are collecting out there. Now, there are other things to think about when buying coins as well. For example, if your gold or silver coin is part of a wider collection, then eventually it may be worth more than the actual value of the gold or silver because it has an extra kind of collectible value, if you like. Now, of course, that's not guaranteed by any measure, but it might be something you want to think about when you're buying your coins. So, for example, at the beginning of 2014, the Royal Mint started to bring out a lunar series, which I absolutely loved, and I've started collecting the lunar series in silver, and I've got them to show you here, the ones that I've got so far. What they did was they minted a 1 ounce coin, so it's the same size as our Britannia over here, but on the reverse you've got the Queen on one side, and technically they're worth £2. This is a £2 coin, it says here, the same as the Britannia, but on the reverse side, instead of having Britannia herself, they've done the lunar calendar, so the Chinese zodiac calendar. And I absolutely love this because I'm half Malaysian, we celebrate Chinese New Year, and I thought, brilliant, this is really nice. So I've started collecting them. I've got 2014 was the one they started, the year of the horse. We've got the year of the sheep, 2015. The year of the monkey, 2016, that's my year. Year of the rooster, 2017 there. Year of the dog, 2018. We've got the year of the pig, 2019. And this year we've got the year of the rat, 2020. So over 12 years, between 2014 and 2026, I shall be collecting the rest of these, and eventually I'll have a collection of 12, which will be very nice. Now, these come in both gold and silver. If I bought the gold ones, obviously each one would cost me about £1,500 each, which is why I've gone for the silver ones instead. because I just want to make small investments here, but eventually I'll have a set that will hopefully, fingers crossed, increase in value in years to come. Another thing that can make your coins worth more in the future is if they're minted in a particular year. So for example, in 2013, everybody wanted to go out and buy a gold sovereign because that was the year that Prince George was born, and of course he's going to be future king, so everybody wanted a sovereign to commemorate him for that particular year. Now thinking about 2020, I'm not sure if you went out and bought a sovereign today that it will be worth much more in collector's value in years to come, because 2020 I think is probably the year that we all want to forget, isn't it? But who knows, it's still a great year to start investing. One other thing to look out for is gift boxes. Now if you buy your coins directly from the Royal Mint or some other websites as well, they often come in a gift box, and you actually pay more for the gift box. Sometimes the box can be up to £30 or £40. So you need to decide whether that's right for what you're doing as well, whether that's the kind of investment you want to make. And of course, whether you get a gift box is entirely up to you, but I would say there are two schools of thought on this. If you're investing in gold sovereigns or Silver Britannias and things like this, and you just want to trade them in at face value in years to come, then obviously you don't need a box for those. And the ones that I get, you can see here, they come in these little plastic cases, containers, and they're kept very, very safe in there. And you can store them like this. You could put them in a bag if you wanted to. You put them in your safety deposit box or your safe at home. But if you feel you're buying a collectible item and then it might be worth more later on with a box, then it might be worthwhile getting the box as well. But I would say it's definitely entirely up to you as to whether you want to shell out that initial outlay for the box too. Okay, so where do we actually go to buy our gold and silver then? Well, we can go to the Royal Mint directly, and I do like those guys in terms of vaulted gold and silver, and even platinum they do too, because you can actually invest with them just a very small amount, and you can do it regularly or just a sort of one-off payment if you want to, and it makes it very, very easy to own gold that way that you don't physically touch or see. But for coins like these ones that I'm showing you today, I like to use a company called Bullion by Post. I've been using them for many years now. I bought all of these coins that I've shown you today from them. They offer a very easy and quick service of getting your coins to you, and normally dispatched within 24 hours. All the coins with them as well come packaged in their own little case like this too, so you can keep them nice and safe. Now I have included a link to their website in the description just underneath this video, so do check that out. And I've also put details of how you can get your very own free Silver Britannia coin, just like this one, when you buy through them. So do go and check that out in the description. So I do hope you found that useful, guys. Do let me know what you're collecting in the comments underneath, or maybe hopefully I've inspired you to start your own collection. That would be really good. So do let me know. Also, do watch these two videos over here because they will definitely help you with your wealth journey. Subscribe if you haven't done that yet already, and thanks ever so much for watching this week, guys. Stay safe in the meantime, and I will see you in the next one.